Okay. Hello, everyone. This is the Dread Pirate once again, and I'm very blue. Got my little blood donation shirt, so that's neat. So, all right. So we finally got some content up on this channel. It's been a long time. I got some D&D content. We're gonna be doing a game later tonight, but I figured a couple things have happened, and I should talk about them. I want to talk about Infinity War. But before I proceed in Infinity War, I feel like I want to go back to Captain Marvel for a minute and re-examine things. I just want to rethink Captain Marvel for just a moment. I'm going to leave a link in the description of this video. Sorry about the light. I'm doing this in the afternoon, and it's very bright outside. And so, just this heavenly light is shining behind me. Basically... I'm going to leave a link in the description of what I personally feel is the best review of the movie online right now. And it's a negative review. If you'll recall, I reviewed the movie positively. And that would be from Mauler. Mauler's Unbridled Meh. Not like the movie. Did not like the movie. And I feel like his criticisms of it are excellent and well thought out. Now, I just kind of want to and he's often gone on to... when it comes into basically examining movies, he feels like you should give it 2 weeks before you properly review a movie, and that's probably what I should have done. It's like I find myself doing that. It's like I'll go in and I'll watch a movie and I'll really super enjoy it, and then I'll think about it, and then I'll start picking it apart. And I mean that's what happened with me with The Last Jedi. It's like initially I was like I enjoyed The Last Jedi, and then the more I thought about it, it's kind of the whole thing just fell apart in my head afterwards. So I'm also going to leave a link in the description of Red Letter Media's Half in the Bag on Captain Marvel, because I think they summed it up pretty well. And I feel like my opinion of the movie it's interesting. It's like I've reached this point where I think my opinion actually links up very much with Mike Skolkoff's opinion of the film. Is that I like the movie, and then I watched Brie Larson talk, and I hate the movie, and that's the thing. It's like a lot of I feel like, and then other Josh and I talked about this, and he really should come out here and make a video of his own. But it's like, oh no, I'm busy. Whatever. He needs to get up on here. And start his YouTube career. He'd blow past me in a freaking instant if he did. Not that I'm terribly far anywhere. Whatever. Anyway, I feel like I still enjoy the movie. I'm gonna stand by that. I still like it. But it has gone down in my head. And I feel there are certain things that are problematic with the movie that bothered me. He watched the movie. Josh watched the movie. And he gave it kind of a stamp of meh. Of it's okay. It's okay. But he had a bigger problem with it than I did. And it's like, I feel like there's two things in particular that are problematic with the film, and for me, there's more for Josh, and he should get up on here and actually review it himself. I'll try to cover what he talked about as best I can, but I shouldn't put my words in his mouth, so to speak. But the two big things for me is the one thing that was a problem for me the first time through, which was the fucking Lightspeed engine. The Lightspeed engine bugs the shit out of me, and I hate to be hardcore science guy, but it's just so irritating hearing over and over. I get it. You're a sci-fi fantasy movie. You're in the Marvel universe where fantastically, as Linkara would say, the lavishly ludicrous is comic books lot. And that's what's going on in the movie. It's like, oh, you don't have to pay it. Who cares? It's like, yeah, but the thing about part of what works about the best science fiction and fantasy, both genres, is they are grounded in some level of reality. I mean, just because your story is a work of fantasy and magic is a thing or whatnot, or just because you're telling just because it has to be grounded somewhere. There has to be a frame of reference, and especially in the MCU, the frame of reference is the world we know. It's just reality as is, which should mean that science as we know it should apply. And it's really annoying when you're already used to, we're already well established that we have a boatload of aliens and extraterrestrials in this universe, from the the Ravagers and the people of Xandar and the Asgardians and just numerous aliens. Thanos's little army, the Kree, the Skrull, all these. You have all these aliens that we've seen in Guardians of the Galaxies and Thor and other entries in the MCU, and every single fucking one of them has faster than light technology. And the entire point of this movie is, oh, by the way, spoiler alert, for those of you who haven't watched Captain Marvel, go watch it, watch my review of it, watch me yelling at Dave Cullen of computing it forever or whatnot, do whatever you want, and then come back here. But anyway, the entire point, spoilers as of now, I have no sympathy for you if you're still here. The entire point of the movie is the Skrulls are trying to get a better engine that can go faster and farther than anything than any technology the Kree have access to. And the Kree are a major galactic race. We see them partially aligned with Thanos in the form of Ronan the Accuser. We see them here and there in in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and things like that. They're a major galactic race. And the Skrulls want to get away from them by getting a better engine that can take them to the next galaxy or further. Okay, then why are you depending on light speed? When everyone else literally has faster than light speed technology. Everyone has the jump technology. It's like, and for those of you not scientifically inclined, light, as far as we know, is the fastest traveling anything in existence. Light is traveling from your computer screen right now to your eyes, and that's how you're seeing me. Photons are instantaneously leaping from your computer screen, boom, hitting your optic nerve, the back of your eyes, and boom, you are processing an image as a result. It's that fast. It's incredibly fast. As far as we know, there's nothing out there that is faster than it, and there's nothing that can go faster than it. At least now. At least we haven't discovered anything yet. It is the fastest anything can travel. That said, space and the universe we live in is so massively huge that light takes forever to get anywhere in that space. A lot of the stars we see at night are already dead, even though their light is still shining upon us on the Earth, because it took that long for the light to get there. And even our closest galactic neighbor, our closest galactic neighbor, which would basically be Alpha Centauri, is 3 light years away. A light year is how far light can travel in a year. And it literally takes a year to get to that point. It's 3 light years away, meaning for us to get to Alpha Centauri, it would take 3 years if moving at the speed of light. Round trip, it would take 6 years. And then there's also the matter of perspective and relatively, and where basically, yes, time travel is possible. It's possible to move forward in time, not back. There's some theories, I think, that state that, I read an article 1,000 years ago that says that if you're moving at the speed of light into a black hole, since a black hole absorbs everything, including light, you will actually go back in time about 4 seconds, and then you'll die because you flew into a black hole, and the gravity will crush you instantaneously, so, what's the point? So it's time travel is sort of kind of possible, just highly improbable. Anyway, but it's definitely possible to go forward in time, because the person traveling at light speed from Earth to Alpha Centauri, it'll only take him 6 years. Meanwhile, everyone else on Earth will age 10 years. And that's how light speed works. Now, of course, in science fiction, of course, we want to dream, if nothing else, but or wonder, or perhaps find something, more convenient. You want to have a space show where you're flying around exploring different planets and systems. Well, it's kind of inconvenient if it takes Captain Picard 10 to 20 years to get to any galactic destination. Ergo, you have warp drive. You have faster than light technology. You have all these things where our ships and our characters are capable of moving faster than the speed of light. And as a result, they don't have to worry about things like that. They don't have to worry about aging upon, aging slower than everybody else on the planet Earth and whatnot. Some science fiction doesn't play with that idea. Like Aliens. Aliens, no, you got to go into cryostasis. You got to freeze. Passengers, the Jennifer Lawrence and Chris Pratt movie. Entire point of that movie is, no, space travel is slow. That's why we made this big ocean liner spaceship where everybody is gonna sleep for forever, and they're gonna like eventually, like in like 80 years, they're gonna wake up and they'll be where they need to be. Where and of course Jennifer Lawrence and Chris Pratt wake up in that early and whatnot. That's the entire drama of that film. Sorry if I spoiled that for you. I'm bad at this. Okay, but yeah, that's the entire point. So it's like I get it. It's the MacGuffin of the movie. It's super awesome engine. Super awesome engine. Super awesome engine can get you where you need to go. Okay, don't call it Lightspeed. They called it Lightspeed because they're betting that dumb people won't know any better. They won't know that Lightspeed is significantly slower than all the technology we've seen so far. But it's really, really annoying if you know what you're talking about. And I hate to be Neil deGrasse Tyson here, but that's just the fact of the matter. It's like, yeah, everybody literally moves faster than them. Everybody, like, instantaneously. It looks like they're using, like, essentially kind of... They call it jump technology, or maybe it's wormhole tech, that they're, like, bending space. The point is they're shortening the distance. So they can jump from one star system instantaneously to Earth, instantaneously to, like, Asgard or wherever they need to go. That's how it works. The Bifrost is probably even going into, like, interdimensional territory. But, yeah, that's clearly...
But, yeah, everybody has faster than light technology. And everybody can move faster than light and just can bend space, and yet they want to take the slow method of getting across the galaxy. It doesn't make any damn sense, and it's infuriating and obnoxious if you know anything about science. So, I mean, it doesn't, like, yeah, in terms of, it literally doesn't make any sense. Ooh, we can move at light speed. We can move substantially slower than everybody else in the galaxy. Bad idea. All right. Oh, God. Yeah. So the other issue I had with the movie was Brie Larson herself. Hang on. Which, again, it's like I didn't mind her as much when I was watching the movie, but I did have some issues with her performance, and which became a little bit clearer later on. But let's start with the obvious. Okay, I remember even before going in the movie, my exposure. I still haven't seen Room. I've seen clips of Room, and I'm like, holy shit. So it's not like she can't act. She can act. She's very talented. I saw her in Kong Skull Island alongside Sam Jackson and Tom Hiddleston, and I thought she was good in that. Although Patsy Riley and Sam Jackson were the really standouts of that. Well, Patsy Riley, Sam Jackson, and John Goodman were the really standout performances in that movie. I think Patsy Riley in particular stole the whole show. And not to mention Kong himself is the star of that movie. So Tom Hiddleston and Brie Larson in Kong Skull Island were kind of just generic hero people, which is fine. It feels like in the case of Tom Hiddleston that it's like you should give him something more meaty. He's Tom Hiddleston. Let him act. Let him be. Yeah, Tom Hiddleston in that movie was just kind of like I'm fighting dinosaurs. You know, he didn't really get a whole lot of chance to talk. He was just kind of awesome, which I'm fine. He was just hero guy. He didn't really say much, and it's kind of a shame because I want Tom Hiddleston to say things. He's very talented, and like she got a little bit more time to do. I think she had a little more kind of like, she was a little more standout, being that she was a reporter who was basically kind of an anti-war protester reporter. And I thought she had a little bit more character in that. She did fine, but then once we got on the island and stuff started happening, both of them were kind of quiet. They were just kind of, we are the hero. We are just generic hero people. We are player characters. And that's fine, though. That's fine. But it's not really a really spectacular performance, but it's okay. It's adequate. It's adequate above average, I'd say. So yeah, like I haven't really been exposed to her too much in terms of like her performance, but I know she can act. But then in this, in this performance, she's a little. This is like the first time I really kind of saw her in like a starring role in like a fully fleshed out form. But let's address the obvious though. It's like I'd seen her in those two things, and then I'd heard about. I think I heard it from World Class Bullshitters. I heard about the whole thing at the BET Awards. I think it was the BET Awards, where she was all like, "I don't care what some old white guy thinks of A Wrinkle in Time. I care what women think about it, and you know, people of different ethnicities think about it, and things like that." And it's like, and I'm gonna echo what Mike Solkasa said that it's like I think there was good intentions with that comment. It was meant to be promoting people up, bringing people of different ethnicities and women up, which is all good things. As a liberal and a Democrat, I support that. That's fine. But it's the way you said it. Because here's the thing. That comment was ageist, sexist, and racist. Two wrongs don't make a right. It doesn't make it okay just because you're promoting black people, or you're promoting women, or different minorities, different groups. It doesn't make it okay to shit on one other group. And it doesn't matter if that group has included, historically, a lot of people that were racist assholes. That's true. No one's denying that. And while maybe some people would deny that, I'm not going to fucking deny that. No. I'm well aware of the shitty things that white people have done in our history. We've done plenty. The fact of the matter is, there are still plenty of really awesome old white people out there. Old white men out there. I'm a young white man. I hope so. Got a little bit of gray. But, yeah, I treat everybody I encounter with respect. At least I try to. And I am not perfect. I have my failings. I've fucked up many times before. But it's not there. There are plenty. If you're gonna call, if you're gonna shit on one group of people, that's racist. That's intolerant. And as a Democrat, as a Democrat and a liberal, we should be better than that. And that's my issue with Brie Larson and people like her, is that it's like you're hurting the cause. You are like there's nothing wrong with feminism. There's nothing wrong with being progressive. Those are all wonderful things, which I support. There is something wrong with, like, in the same breath, saying something equally offensive and racist. And I would argue that it pushes plenty of people away from the Democratic Party. It pushes people away from progressivism. Makes them vote for Trump. And I think it's a bad thing. We should not be doing that. And my issue with that, my issue with people like Anita Sarkeesian, the SJWs of the world, is you are hurting the cause. Get out of my party. You're making us look bad. And I think, like, yeah, her comments were really, really shitty. Now, as I've already said before, and as Mike Skahas has already pointed out, that, like, she said this one thing, and then people just who have been, like, making videos every day hating on her for months until Captain Marvel came out, which is ridiculous. It's equally stupid and equally miserable. Even a guy I respect, I'm pretty sure, knowing his content, World Class Bullshitters was probably making videos every day or every other day bitching about the upcoming Captain Marvel movie. And although I respect him a lot, and he actually saw the movie, unlike Dave Cullen, yeah, a little disappointed there. But, I mean, but at the end of the day, he's a good guy. And again, my big issue with people like Dave Cullen was Dave Cullen is, first of all, Dave Cullen, if you look at his channel, he's a fucking white nationalist. That's what he does. That's all he talks about. He supports people like Tommy Robinson, people like Lauren Southern, people like giant assholes. He's a fucking racist, is what it boils down to. And what he does is he doesn't see the movie. He listens to Chris Tuckman, who saw the movie, and it's rants about how liberals and feminists suck for 30 fucking minutes without actually seeing the movie himself. Fuck that guy. Fuck him. Fuck Dave Cullen. He's a piece of shit. There's nothing wrong with feminist or progressive values, and for that, but there is something wrong with extremists of any sort, including extreme liberals. And that's the thing. Yeah, yeah. There is definitely a problem with Kathleen Kennedy and freaking like Anita Sarkeesian and a lot of these people that are just like freaking crazy. And here's the thing you got to remember: not all liberals get along. We don't support things like that. A lot of people aren't going to say that. They should, but they're not going to say that because they don't want to appear like an asshole. I'm willing to say it because I'm always willing to make a fool of myself. I mean, just look at me. But like the fact of the matter is, there is a problem, and that kind of language is hateful and intolerant. It's just like not every conservative or Republican is a Trump supporter. They're not. There's more places where we can meet each other eye to eye. So I think like her saying things like that is stupid. And I think like, but I also think like the other side of it is basically just hating on this intentionally is also stupid. Anyway, but since then we've seen her in other things. I've seen her in like those little like interviews where she ripped the name off of your Google search, and she just doesn't. comes across as kind of snarky and arrogant. I've seen at this point the promotions for Endgame where she was with Don Cheadle and Chris Hemsworth and Jeremy Renner, and yeah, she comes across like a arrogant bitch and just not a nice person. She does not strike me as a nice person. She strikes me as very unpleasant to be around. I saw those. Yeah, Don Cheadle didn't want nothing to do with it. Don't touch me. Don't touch me. No one seemed to want to put up with her. She seems like an unpleasant, arrogant person, and that's unfortunate. And I think that's part of the problem is that it's like Mike said. It's just like I heard her talk, and now I hate the movie. I don't hate the movie. I still enjoy the movie for what it is, but it's like I think it does kind of it bothers me now. It bothers me now. Like, and I think that's the thing is like the rest of the MCU cast, from everything I've seen through interviews, and it's like, and again, it's not like I know them personally or anything like that, but everything I've seen of them, they just seem like really sweet, wonderful people. All of them. Like everybody that works on these movies just seems like an awesome person. I can only vouch for like the one person I've met, which is I met I can't pronounce her name. Like Palm Klentemoff, I want to say the woman who plays Mantis from Guardians of the Galaxy. I've met her, and she's absolutely sweet. She's an incredibly nice person, and that's the thing. It's like they but everything I see these people in, they're just really awesome and upbeat and really cool. They're really nice people. They're really great people. And again, that's like, there you go, right there. That's just a cast of men, women, all nationalities, all groups, and they're freaking awesome, and it's beautiful, and it's awesome to see them in action. So yeah, I mean, it's like, you know, she's except Brie Larson. She just comes across as a bitch, and I can't say I'm happy to see her inheriting the MCU. And we'll deal with that in time. We'll deal with that when Phase 4. I'm looking forward to Spider-Man coming up a couple months, so we'll talk about that when that comes around. But anyway, yeah. So I feel like just there's part of that. Part of that's an issue is that I'm looking at that attitude she's got, and I think it mars her performance. I think the other issue is that you get the situation where like that personality cuts bleeding into her performance. Mauler put it best in his review that basically he called her plank, and I think that's fair. It's like she just kind of comes across as just kind of wooden and half-baked, and just like it's not clear who she is. It's not clear who Veers is. It's not clear who Carol Danvers is. We don't know. And they never it's like we never really kind of get to know her, and it's like we're told by Maria Rambeau that, oh, she's smart and funny, and you supported me when as a woman, as a friend, and as a mother. We don't see any of that. We don't see that. We don't get to know her. We don't get her fleshed out. So I think part of it is just her kind of personality is kind of bleeding through the character. It's just kind of meh. But the other thing too is it's like I think on the writing standpoint, she wasn't given a whole lot to work with. It's like the entire setup that she's got amnesia and thinks she's a Kree. That's not fleshed out. We get the flashbacks where we see her past, and that's not really, you know, that looks interesting, but we only get a little taste of it. It feels like it would have been stronger, and we would have gotten to know her better if we had seen her as Carol Danvers, as going through the military, and then she gets exposed, and then loses her memory. But there's other things too. It's like we don't know what her life like on Valhalla is. We see a beautiful map painting and a couple of scenes here and there, but we don't really get to know Kree, the Kree homeworld. We don't really get to see enough of it. We don't see any supporting characters. We don't know what her day-to-day life is. There's a lot that's left out, and I think that's like this is where Josh really had a problem with the movie. Josh had a problem with the movie in the regards that it's like the world building wasn't strong enough for him, and we don't really get to see much of anything. And so I think what I did, and partially why I enjoyed the movie and I enjoyed her performance, was I did a thing that I condemned other people for. I hated Man of Steel. I hated Man of Steel absolutely. I thought it was terrible. I thought it was a slap in the face to the character of Superman. And way back, way before I was in the military, way when I was doing security, I would go to this, after I was done for the night, I would go and like this one 7-Eleven, get donuts. The stereotypes of real people. And something to drink, and there was this guy Keith that worked there, and me and him would talk movies and things like that. He was a cool guy. Haven't seen him in a long time. I need to go stop by that 7-Eleven sometime. But we would, I remember talking to him about Man of Steel, and he loved it, and I'm like, why do you love this movie? It's shit. And it's like, well, it's still Superman. I think like he enjoyed it. He felt like it was still the character. And it's like, I think a lot of people liked Man of Steel. A lot of people that support the DCU, they are projecting what they know of the DC characters and what they know of Superman and what they know of like Batman and all these characters. They're projecting that on these characters, regardless of the fact that they're not acting right in those movies. And part of the reason I hate like the DCEU so much is because of Man of Steel. My theater is awesome. They had like a bar in the theater, and I got a little drink before I went in, and I needed that drink. I needed it because like the movie was so bad. I'm like, oh my god, and I started drunk calling my friends. It's like oh, DC's dead to me. Like, real talk. I totally. I drunk called people over how much I hated that movie. I fucking did. So, but that's the thing. A lot of people that I think liked it. They project the Superman they know from the comics on the character, regardless of the fact that it's like the actual character getting the movie is not the same character. It's not Superman. It's like, Superman doesn't snack people's necks. Superman doesn't destroy satellites that are like, are watching him. He is beholden to people. Superman he's not a violent asshole. And yeah, that's like my problem with the movie. It wasn't like true to the character. And I think what I did was I wound up projecting my understanding of Carol Danvers onto Brie Larson's performance. Because for my money, Carol Danvers was an excellent character prior to her becoming Captain Marvel. Back when she was Miss Marvel and Warbird and all that, she was excellent. She was an awesome character. Yeah, in that outfit that apparently is sexist. Excuse me for having glands. Excuse me for making a female character. Excuse the makers of comic books for making a female character look sexy and for someone enjoying it. Excuse me for that. Yeah, fuck you. You know what? Carol Danvers was an awesome character back in the day. She was a strong woman. She had personality. She was incredibly sexy. She was incredibly badass. She was like she had powers comparable to Superman. She had a military mindset. She was a feminist icon. She was many things, and she was great. She became binary and interacted and went on adventures with the X-Men. She was freaking awesome. She was an excellent character. She was a leading member of the Avengers that I was proud to have there. She was an excellent character. Then all of a sudden, they got this new wave of crazy writers that brought in the SJW Marvel era. And they took a look at her and said, no, her outfit's sexist. Her outfit's sexist. We need to no, she can't be in a one-piece bathing suit. And you know what? Like, that may have been what happened when she became Captain Marvel in the comics, but you know what? There were still some good stories with her as Captain Marvel. And there's still good material. Go and fucking play Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. It's an excellent video game. It gets a bad rap. It gets shit on all the time. The story mode is fucking awesome. And you know what? Captain Marvel's awesome in it. She's freaking great in that game. She's excellent in that game. And every now and then when someone writes her right, she's great too. When you get bad writers like Nick Spencer and other shitheads like him, she's terrible. And they, gave her the short, shitty haircut and made her an absolute horrible, ultra third-wave feminist nightmare. Yeah, then she comes across like a bitch. And a lot of people are afraid that going into this movie, Marvel was going to be tapping into that. And unfortunately, it looks like they kind of did. And I think a lot of that has to do with the person they picked. They picked Brie. And that's right up her alley. And I think that's problematic. And I think part of the reason why I enjoyed Brie in this movie, why I enjoyed her in Captain Marvel, was because she was doing things she was doing first of all, doing the bare minimum of what I needed Captain Marvel to do. Punch things and shoot lasers. I was projecting my understanding of Carol Danvers onto the character, which was very appropriate because seeing as how she was a plank of wood, there was plenty of room for me to project and attach things to her that she was not necessarily doing in the performance. I feel like part of the reason I'm doing this video in the first place is I want to talk about Endgame and I want to talk about her Endgame. I like her more in Captain Marvel than I like her in Endgame. And I think that's my issue. I kind of was getting into her story. I was kind of getting into like her not knowing where she came from and thinking that she's an alien and then kind of finding through. I got wrapped up in the adventure with her. And I feel like she had an arc in that movie and it kind of works for that film. But I can totally understand why a lot of people don't. I can totally understand why a lot of people may not like this movie at all. And it's because, as Mauler said, she is a plank. She's a plank of wood. She's half-baked. It's not clear. So why do I like this movie? Why do I still insist that I like this movie? Well, a lot of reasons. One, everybody else in the movie. Sam Jackson's great. Maria Rambeau's fucking awesome. Ben Mendelsohn's Talos is fucking great. That guy's my heart. That guy, like, I felt for him. I freaking fell in love with his character. He starts off as a menacing villain. It was so cool to see the Skrulls for the first time. And, like, you know, but then, like, as things go along, you get to know him. It's really, I'm just trying to get to my family. He's just trying to get to his wife and kids. I started crying. I was worried he was going to fucking die. And I'm so happy he made it out of the movie. Freaking, like, no, Talos was fucking great. I loved Goose. Goose was cute initially, and then he's a Lovecraft monster, and that was great. I loved Goose. I thought Goose was great. I understand why a lot of people don't like the scratch of the eye. It's like, yeah, you're just right on that. You guys are right on that. Other things I like. Okay, as much as Josh wasn't feeling the world building, I was happy to see the Skrulls. I agree there wasn't enough world building, but I was happy to see the Skrulls for the first time on the big screen. I was happy to see the more of the Kree. I was happy to see Karen, the one guy from Guardians of the Galaxy with the cyborg stuff on his head. It's cool to see him again. I liked her little team of Kree. I like the fight when she goes no chance and she gets like all superpowered to Gwen Stefani. I like Gwen Stefani. So, you know, I didn't even realize there was a feminist message. Just like I was saying, I'm just a girl, a little. I like that song. So I don't know. Sue me. I like seeing the Supreme Intelligence, although Josh had a problem with that, and so did I. They never showed the Supreme Intelligence's true form, which, for those of you who don't know, is a big giant head. And they didn't have my big giant head, and I thought they should have had the big giant head. I thought when she was beating it in her mind, it should have broken free. Josh and I were talking about this. Again, Josh is a better comic book scholar than I am. We call him the guru, essentially, in our circle of friends. And as he pointed out, the Supreme Intelligence claims to be a completely logical entity. It's not. It's very emotional. I thought would have been really great is if, as she was beating it, it would have started breaking down emotionally and getting angry. And then as it did that, like instead the facade of the scientist lady of Larson would break away, and it would just be a big giant alien head. That would have been so freaking cool to see that. And they didn't do that, and I felt like they should have done that. But yeah, I think at the end of the day, it's still an enjoyable science fiction superhero movie. And it's worth watching if you're into it. However, if it's not for you, I get it. Because you know what? Mauler's right. Red Letter Media's right. The movie has objective flaws to it. It is genuine. It is definitely a flawed movie. It is one of the weaker MCU entries. And in fact, for me personally, I find it better than Iron Man 3. Iron Man 3 is normally my standard for Iron Man 3, in my personal opinion, is the worst MCU movie, which I still like, by the way. Josh does not. And again, that's not the Mandarin. That's not the Mandarin. I like Guy Pearce and the extremist storyline in that, but I want my Chinese man with his alien rings. Why? Oh, we can't do that because racism. It's like, who cares? Fuck. It was made in the Cold War. Just whatever. Just make him a Chinese scientist who happens to be evil, has nothing to do with communism, and just found an alien technology and is a bad. Just fucking do it. Just fucking if you've seen the one shots, it's like they've been trying to correct the canon. Apparently, Mandarin's still out there. I don't know he's gonna fight since Endgame. We'll talk about Endgame in a minute. Yeah. That's the thing. I'm not sure if a lot of people are saying it's like the worst MCU movie. It's like I feel like it. For me, it was an enjoyable sci-fi romp. So no, not for me personally. But for others, maybe yeah. It's probably fair to say it's a little bit worse than Iron Man 3. And now, if you think that's the worst MCU thing, it doesn't matter. You're wrong. The answer is not Iron Man 3. The answer is not Captain Marvel. The worst MCU anything is Inhumans. If you've seen it. Yeah, it's a good thing they fired that guy. It's a good thing they fired the guy who wrote Inhumans. Yeah, they started learning their lesson with Iron Fist. It's like, no, we need bye. But anyway, yeah, I still think it's an enjoyable film, but it definitely has flaws. My subjective opinion is that there's good stuff in it that's worth it, including Brie Larson's performance. But if it's not for you, I totally understand. And you know what? Having Endgame come out, it's totally skippable. I wanted to do this kind of relook at Captain Marvel and kind of a reassessment of it, specifically because what I really want to talk about is I want to talk about Endgame. Well, now we're going to talk about Endgame. We're going to talk about Endgame. There will be spoilers. There will be spoilers. Although, I don't know if there's anything to spoil because you obviously saw Endgame. All of you did. It's the most successful movie of all time. It will be before, once all the numbers fucking roll in. Let's not even fucking play. It's breaking all types of records, but whatnot. But I'm going to talk about Captain Marvel in Endgame, and I need to do that. And so in order to do that, I need to clear things out. Just let me point this out. I like her. I actually enjoyed Brie Larson's Captain Marvel in her movie for what she was, although it's gone down in my head over time. I did not like her in Endgame, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. So this is the Dread Pirate saying, see you in the next movie review. For next time, it's Avengers Endgame.